Welcome back, everyone. Before we dive in, make sure you drop your thoughts and the lessons you took from this story in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get into it. My name is Wesley Brooks, and I'm 38 years old. Second week of December, we were at the dinner table on what should have been a normal Tuesday evening. The house smelled like roasted chicken and garlic bread, the kind of simple comfort meal that usually settled everyone down after a long day. I was talking about a project deadline at work, explaining how our team was scrambling to get a systems rollout done before the end of the year, when my wife interrupted without even looking up from her plate. "Jada and I are spending Christmas and New Year with Tyrone," Tanisha said, like she was reading off a grocery list. My words stalled in my throat. I put my fork down slowly. "What?" I asked, thinking I must have misheard. She glanced at me with mild impatience. "The whole break," she said. "We leave December 23rd, back January 6th. Flights are already booked." I blinked at her, my mind trying to catch up to the casual way she said it, like she was telling me the weather report. "You are taking her to spend 2.5 weeks with your ex-husband during the holidays?" I asked, my voice quiet, too controlled. Tanisha sighed, as if I was being deliberately difficult. "He's not just my ex. He's her father, Wesley. Her actual father," she said, emphasizing each word like she was correcting a slow student. I stared at her. "I have helped raise her for 6 years," I said. She actually laughed, a short, dismissive sound that hit me harder than a slap. "Helped?" Tanisha shook her head. "Please. You are the stand-in. You have always been the stand-in. She needs time with her authentic dad, not someone pretending to be one." It felt like the air in the room thinned all at once. Something cold and terribly clear settled inside my chest. Stand-in. Not partner. Not stepfather. Not family. Stand-in. I repeated the word in my head like a diagnosis. Tanisha rolled her eyes. "Do not be dramatic. It is 2 weeks," she said. "Tyrone wants to take her skiing, do the family Christmas his parents planned. It is important for her. What am I supposed to do for 2.5 weeks?" I asked. Tanisha shrugged and reached for her phone beside her plate. "Whatever you want. Watch the bowl games. You will probably enjoy the quiet, honestly." As if on cue, Jada walked into the dining room, backpack slung over one shoulder, earbuds in, the soft hum of music leaking out just enough to be annoying. 14 years old, and she had perfected the art of looking through me like I was another piece of furniture. She dropped her backpack near the stairs and headed toward the table. "Mom, you tell him yet?" Jada asked, pulling one earbud out. "Just now," Tanisha said. Jada glanced in my direction, barely, like you glance at a street sign you already know. "Cool," she said. "Dad got his passes for Aspen. His family rented a ridiculous cabin. He said it looks like something out of a movie." She was talking fast, eyes lighting up for the first time in days. "Sounds nice," I said, keeping my voice steady. Jada hesitated, clearly expecting a fight. "Yeah," she said slowly. "It is going to be awesome having a proper Christmas for once." Proper Christmas for once. 6 years of Christmases with me apparently did not count. Every tree I helped decorate, every bike I paid for, every late-night assembly of toys and electronics, all wiped away with 3 words: for once. Tanisha watched me carefully, like she was waiting for me to explode, so she could tell herself she was right about me being unreasonable. "Okay," I said. That was it. Just that one word. Her eyes narrowed. "Okay. That is your response?" she asked, offended by my lack of theatrics. "What else is there?" I asked. "You have decided. Tickets are booked. Plans are made. Am I supposed to beg?" She frowned. "I thought you would at least be upset," she said. "Would that change your plans?" I asked. There was a beat of silence. "No, but normal people have reactions when their family leave for the holidays," she snapped. "I am reacting," I said evenly. "I'm saying okay." She did not like that answer. I could see it bothering her. No drama meant no justification for whatever story she had already written in her head about me being selfish or controlling. Jada had already grabbed a plate and disappeared back to her room, her footsteps stomping up the stairs. Tanisha stood abruptly and gathered the used plates, her movements sharper than necessary, dishes clacking louder than usual. "This is exactly your problem," she said over her shoulder. "You are too passive. You accept everything without fighting. You never push back." I stood too, picked up my glass, and carried it to the sink. "You want me to fight about this?" I asked. I want you to act like you care, Tanisha said, turning to face me. I do care, I said quietly. Then show it, she demanded. You just told me I'm a stand-in playing pretend dad, I replied. What exactly should I be fighting for here, Tanisha? The privilege of being your backup, while you go play real family with Tyrone and his parents. For the first time that evening, she hesitated. Her mouth opened and closed, the words tangling on her tongue. That is not what I meant, she said finally, voice softer but not apologetic. Yes, it was, I said. And I heard you. I dried my hands on a dish towel, hung it back on the oven handle, and walked toward the garage door without raising my voice once. Where are you going? She called after me. I need some air, I said. In the garage, the quiet felt heavy but strangely clean. I climbed into my truck, shut the door, and just sat there, staring at the steering wheel for a long time. The dashboard clock glowed calmly in the dim light, utterly unbothered by the way my life had just shifted on its axis. 6 months earlier, I had received a job offer from our company's new Honolulu office, 18 months minimum, with a permanent option, 32% salary bump, relocation covered. I had turned it down 3 times, because we were building a family here. Because uprooting would be too hard on Jada. I pulled out my phone and scrolled through my emails until I found the thread. There it was, Honolulu Systems Director role, follow-up. They had emailed 3 times asking me to reconsider, saying I was their top candidate, that my experience with complex infrastructure projects was exactly what they needed to get the new office fully functional. I had told them no each time because I thought I needed to keep this family together, because I thought I mattered enough to stay. Stand-in. The word sat in my chest like a stone. I opened the most recent email and stared at the blinking cursor in the reply box. My fingers hovered over the keyboard for a long moment. I thought about Jada's face lighting up over Tyrone's ski passes, about Tanisha laughing when I said I had helped raise her daughter, about being told I was pretending to be a father. Then I started typing. No anger, no dramatic wording, just a simple, professional response saying that my situation had changed and I was ready to accept the position if it was still available. I read it twice, added a line about being able to relocate quickly before year-end, then hit send before I could second-guess myself. When I came back inside, Tanisha was on the couch, scrolling through her phone. Her face was lit by the blue glow of the screen, features relaxed in a way they had not been a few minutes earlier. She was probably texting Tyrone about mountain conditions or sharing pictures of ski cabins. I'm going to bed, I said. She did not look up. Fine, she replied, thumb still moving. I stood there for a second longer, waiting for some flicker of awareness, some hint that she realized something had shifted. Nothing. I went upstairs, opened my laptop on the small desk in our bedroom, and started a list. Not a dramatic manifesto. Just logistics. Documents I needed to separate. Accounts with both our names attached. Things that were mine before this marriage, and things I was willing to leave behind. I created another tab for travel details, passport renewal dates, points I had saved on different airlines, the logistics of shipping a few boxes ahead. If I was the stand-in, I thought grimly, then the show was about to run without me. I had 8 days before they left for their big family vacation in Colorado. That meant I had 11 days before anyone would reasonably expect me to be at the house when they came back. 11 days to quietly untangle myself from an entire life. It sounded impossible at first, but the more I broke it into steps, the more it looked like any other project plan. Wednesday morning, I woke before my alarm. Tanisha was still asleep, a soft snore catching in her throat, oblivious to the decision I had made 8 hours earlier. I took a long shower, dressed for work, and left the house at 6 o'clock without waking her. I was at my desk by 7, coffee in hand, when I reopened the Honolulu email thread. I typed out a more formal acceptance, outlining my availability, start date preferences, and willingness to move quickly. Then I added one line that felt heavier than the rest. I can be in Honolulu before Christmas if necessary. I read it once, then pressed send. My phone rang within 30 minutes, the screen lighting up with an unfamiliar area code. This is Wesley, I said. Wesley, this is Aaron Ellis from the Honolulu office, the man on the line said, his voice smooth and upbeat. We are thrilled to hear you have changed your mind. This is fantastic news. We were really hoping you would come around. He launched into details immediately. How soon can you start? He asked. How fast can you be here? I stared at my computer screen, at the open spreadsheet that suddenly felt like it belonged to another lifetime. How fast can you process everything on your end? I asked. It is a domestic transfer, so paperwork is straightforward, he said. We can expedite relocation approvals if we have a firm commitment. You have a current passport in case you need one for identification, yes? Current, I said. Perfect. We will handle relocation costs, temporary housing for the first month, and shipment of essential belongings. The whole package. Honolulu is incredible, Wesley. I think you will like it here. I let out a slow breath. I need to be there before Christmas if possible, I said. There was a pause on his end. That is 9 days, he said. I know, I replied. Let me make some calls, he said. I will have an answer by the end of business your time. By noon, human resources from my current office called me down. The director, Ms. Franklin, sat across from me with a folder already open. They want you badly over there, she said, a hint of smile on her face. Emergency relocation approved. Flight booked for December 22nd. Temporary apartment arranged near the Honolulu harbor. She slid a printed itinerary toward me. Your official start date is December 27th. This is incredibly fast, Wesley. Are you sure about the timeline? I nodded. Positive, I said. What about your family? She asked carefully. Are they coming later, or just you? For a heartbeat, I thought about the dinner table, about Jada saying, proper Christmas for once, about Tanisha calling me a stand-in. Just me, I said. Miss Franklin studied my face for a second, then nodded slowly. All right, she said. We will get everything processed. I spent my lunch break sitting in my car in the parking lot, phone in my hand, making a different list. Bank accounts, insurance policies, my name on the mortgage, joint credit cards, things I needed to redirect, things I needed to close. The house was in both our names, but I had been making the mortgage payments alone for 4 years, ever since Tanisha went part-time at the boutique. It did not matter. She could have it. I just wanted out without a fight. That evening, when I walked in the front door, Tanisha was in the kitchen, humming softly while she stirred a pot on the stove. It was the first time I had heard her hum in weeks. Good day, I asked, hanging my coat on the hook. Great, she said a little too brightly. I finalized the Aspen reservations. Tyrone's parents are so excited to see Jada. They have not had a proper Christmas with her in years. She emphasized the word proper again, like our previous holidays had been practice runs. Because they live halfway across the country and rarely visited, I thought, but I did not say it. Out loud, I just said, sounds nice. She turned to look at me, eyebrows knitting together. You are being strangely calm about this, she said. Just accepting reality, I replied. What is that supposed to mean? She demanded. I shrugged lightly. Nothing, just that you have made your choice, and I am not going to fight it. She stared at me for a moment, then nodded sharply. Good, she said, because I was ready for a whole argument, and honestly, I am relieved you are being mature about this. Jada came downstairs a few minutes later, phone in hand as always. She dropped in her chair and scrolled while she chewed, barely looking up. Tyrone texted, she said to her mother. Not to me. He wants to know if I need new ski gear, or if last year's stuff still fits. Tanisha smiled. Tell him we will figure out once we get there, she said. You know he loves shopping for you anyway. They spent most of dinner talking about packing lists, flight times, which restaurants they wanted to try in Aspen, and how amazing the cabin looked in pictures. I might as well have been another chair. I answered a couple of basic questions Jada tossed my way, about how to layer clothes in cold weather, about whether Denver's airport was really as big as people said, but she did not linger on any response. After dinner, while Tanisha rinsed dishes and Jada disappeared upstairs, I went out to the garage. The familiar smell of motor oil and dust greeted me, more comforting than the chatter at the table had been. I started pulling things into organized piles. Important documents went into one box: birth certificate, college transcripts, old tax returns, anything I might need to prove who I was and what I had done in this life. Photos from before the marriage went into another. Tools I had brought from my old apartment years ago formed a third pile. It was unsettling how quickly 6 years of my presence in that house separated itself into a few manageable containers. My phone buzzed on the workbench. It was an email from the Honolulu team, a welcome packet with housing photos, office location, and a brief introduction to the team I would be leading. There were snapshots of the building near the harbor, streets lined with palm trees, and a view of the shoreline from a balcony that made my chest tighten. It all felt more solid, more inviting, more honest than anything happening in my own home. Friday night, Tanisha announced she was going shopping for the trip. "Jada needs new gloves and maybe a coat," she said, grabbing her keys. "You good here?" I forced a small smile. "I will manage," I said. They left in a swirl of cold air and perfume, the front door clicking shut behind them. I checked the clock. 3 hours, maybe more, with the house all to myself. I moved quickly. I gathered the last of my important papers and copied digital files from our shared computer onto a hard drive I'd bought on my way home Thursday. I logged into our joint checking account and changed my direct deposit information to the new account I had opened that afternoon. Then I opened a separate tab and set up mail forwarding to a post office box I had already rented that morning. Finally, I called my friend from college, Gerald, who had become a family lawyer. He picked up on the third ring. "It is late, Wes," he said. "You all right?" "I need divorce papers drawn up," I said without preamble. There was a pause on the line. "You serious?" Gerald asked. "Completely," I said. "Can you handle it remotely?" "I can," he replied slowly. "What is going on?" I stared at the closed garage door, listening to the distant humming of the heater through the walls. "I will explain later," I said. "Right now, I just need to know if you can help me get everything filed. I am leaving the state soon." "You sure about this?" he asked again. "Yeah," I said. "Does she know yet?" I let out a humorless breath. "She will," I said. "Soon." Gerald sighed. "All right. Email me the basics tonight. Full names, dates, assets you are willing to waive. I will start drafting." When I hung up, the house felt even quieter. By Sunday, I had everything ready. 2 suitcases packed and hidden in the trunk of my car under an old blanket. Documents organized neatly in a folder in my desk. Emails drafted to extended family, saved as drafts. A letter to Tanisha written in clean, even handwriting, sealed and sitting in my desk drawer. That night at dinner, Tanisha talked about the weather forecast in Colorado. "Powder conditions should be amazing," she said. "Tyrone already has a list of the best runs. He is obsessed with those ski maps." She laughed, remembering something he had said on the phone, and it hit me how rarely she laughed at anything I did anymore. "You will be okay here by yourself?" she asked, almost as an afterthought. "I will manage," I said. "It is just 2 weeks," she said. 2.5, I replied mildly. "You could always invite Raymond or Calvin over. Watch football. Guy time." I shrugged. "Maybe," I said. She smiled, apparently satisfied. "See, this could be good for you too. Space to do your own thing for once." Space. That was the word she liked to use whenever she wanted something that did not include me. I had exactly 4 days until they left and 5 until I did. She had no idea she was counting down to a completely different kind of goodbye. December 23rd arrived cold and bright, the kind of winter morning where the sunlight made the frost sparkle on the driveway. Their flight was at 11 o'clock. I watched from a living room window as Tanisha loaded the car, juggling suitcases and double-checking boarding passes on her phone. 3 suitcases and 2 carry-ons for a 2.5-week trip. Jada bounced around the car, texting nonstop, probably telling Tyrone and his parents that they were almost on the way. I could see her breath puffing in little clouds as she laughed at something on her screen. Tanisha came back inside one last time, gloves tucked in her coat pocket, keys in hand. "We are heading out," she said. "Traffic to the airport is going to be awful. Safe flight," I said. She paused, watching my face carefully. "You sure you are good?" she asked. "You have been off all week." "Just tired from work," I said. "We are in crunch time, remember?" She nodded slowly. "Well, we will text when we land," she said. She hesitated, looking around the kitchen like she was trying to remember something. "There are leftovers in the fridge, and I left you a list of things to take care of while we are gone. Garbage day is Thursday. Do not forget." Of course, there was a list of chores. "Got it," I said. Jada yelled from the car, "Mom, come on." Tanisha stepped closer and gave me a quick kiss on the cheek. Perfunctory, automatic, the way you kiss a relative you only see at holidays. "See you in January," she said. "Yeah," I replied. "Have fun." I watched them drive away, standing at the window until the car disappeared around the corner. I waited another 10 minutes, just to be sure, listening to the furnace kick on and off, to the quiet ticking of the kitchen clock. Then I moved. I took the letter out of my desk drawer and walked it to the kitchen. I set it on the table, propped against the salt shaker where Tanisha would see it the moment she walked in the door. Just her first name on the front in my handwriting. Inside, I kept it short. I wrote that I had accepted the position in Honolulu and was leaving the next day. I wrote that the house was hers, that I would sign whatever documents were needed to transfer it fully to her. I wrote that a lawyer would be in touch about divorce paperwork. Then I wrote one more line that summed up the entire thing. This is not anger. It is just done. You made it clear where I stand, and I'm not standing there anymore. I hope Jada has a great time with her authentic family. Take care. No dramatics. No accusations. Just facts. I did one final walk through the house, room by room. Utilities were still on auto-pay from my account. I planned to cancel those after I landed in Hawaii. The mortgage was current through January. She would have to figure out February on her own. I had already shipped 2 boxes of personal items to the Honolulu office, labeled and insured. Everything else I needed fit in the 2 suitcases sitting by the front door. My phone buzzed. A text from Tanisha. Landed in Denver. So excited. Jada says hi. Jada definitely had not said hi, but I typed back. Great. Enjoy. That was it. I had 3 days alone in that house before my flight. I spent them systematically. I changed every password I could think of. Email, banking, cloud storage. I removed my name from joint accounts wherever possible and withdrew my portion from the ones I could not immediately separate. I called the credit card company and removed Tanisha as an authorized user for my personal card. I filed the official mail forwarding order. I sent the drafted email to my family, explaining that a career opportunity had come up in Honolulu and I would be out of state for a while. I wrote that I would be in touch once I was settled. My brother, Leon, called within 10 minutes. Honolulu, he said, not even bothering with hello. When did this happen? I stared at the half-packed suitcase on the bed. Recently, I said. And Tanisha and Jada are just fine with you leaving like that? He asked. They are in Colorado with Tyrone's family for the holidays, I said. Seemed like good timing. There was a long pause. I could almost see him rubbing a hand over his face the way he did when something did not sit right. Man, what is going on? Leon asked. This does not sound like you. I swallowed. Just a change, I said. I will explain later. I still have a lot to do. He did not push, which I appreciated, but his silence told me he knew there was more to the story than I was saying. Christmas Eve, the house felt hollow. I ordered Chinese food, ate on the couch while some forgettable holiday movie played in the background. The tree lights blinked steadily, casting colored reflections on the dark window. My phone stayed mostly quiet. Every so often, I would open social media and see Tanisha's posts. Jada on skis, bundled up and grinning. The mountain lodge with its giant fireplace. Tyrone's parents smiling with Jada between them, arms around her shoulders. A big, happy family. I was not in any of the photos, not even mentioned in the captions. Stand-in did not make the Christmas card. Christmas morning, I finished packing, threw out everything perishable from the fridge, and set the thermostat to the minimum temperature that would keep the pipes from freezing. That night, Tanisha finally called. Hey, she said, like this was any other trip. Sorry we have not called. It has been crazy. Jada is having the best time. I leaned against the counter and looked around the dim kitchen. How was your Christmas? She asked. Quiet, I said. You should have gone to your brother's, she said. I am good, I replied. Well, we are all thinking of you, she said. In the background, I heard laughter, clinking dishes, and Tyrone's voice saying something I could not quite make out. Okay, got to go. We are heading to dinner. Talk soon. She hung up before I could respond. I stared at my phone for a second, then set it face down. 6 years. Jada had been 8 when I met Tanisha. I had helped with homework, attended school concerts, sat through parent-teacher conferences, and paid for dance classes. I had spent entire weekends on projects Jada needed for school, painting posters and building models. None of it mattered in the end. I had always been temporary in their story, whether I realized it or not. December 26th. 4 in the morning, I loaded my car in the dark. The neighborhood was quiet, the streetlights casting long shadows on the frosted lawns. I left my house key on the kitchen counter next to the letter, then locked the door from the outside with the spare key. I slid that one through the mail slot. Final. At the airport, I checked 2 bags and kept 1 carry-on. The boarding pass in my hand said Honolulu. I watched families gather at the gate, kids bouncing, parents juggling bags and snacks and jackets. I felt strangely detached, like I was watching someone else's life unfold. When the boarding call came, I walked down the jet bridge without looking back at the terminal windows. The flight was long, hours of clouds and sky and quiet. I slept in short stretches, waking up every so often to the low murmur of the cabin, the glow of overhead lights, and the realization that there was nothing tying me back to Ohio anymore. By the time Tanisha and Jada came home, I was nearly 5,000 miles away. January 6th, 3 in the afternoon, Tanisha's key turned in the lock. The house was cold. She noticed that first. The thermostat was turned down low. "Hello," she called out, dragging her suitcase inside. Jada came in behind her, shivering and complaining about the temperature. "Why is it freezing in here?" Jada asked. There was no answer. No television sounds. No footsteps overhead. No welcome back. Tanisha walked into the kitchen and saw the envelope propped against the salt shaker. Her stomach dropped before she even picked it up. Something about the way it sat there, plain, still, waiting, felt wrong. She tore it open, read it once, then again, then a third time, her hands starting to shake. "Mom, why is it so cold?" Jada called from the living room. Tanisha could not answer. The word Honolulu blurred in front of her eyes. Divorce. Done. Gone. No, no, no. Tanisha whispered, her throat tight. She grabbed her phone and dialed my number. The call went straight to a recording that said the number had been disconnected. She tried again. Same message. She sent a text out of reflex. It bounced back, undelivered. "What is happening?" she muttered, heart pounding. "Mom." Jada appeared in the doorway, still wearing her coat, cheeks pink from the cold outside. "What is wrong?" Tanisha forced her voice to steady. "Nothing," she lied. "Go upstairs and unpack. I will turn the heat up." "But," Jada started. "Now, Jada," Tanisha said, sharper than she intended. Jada rolled her eyes and stomped up the stairs, but the worry was written all over her face. The moment Jada was out of sight, Tanisha moved through the house in a frenzy. Our bedroom closet was half empty. My side, where my shirts and suits used to hang, was mostly bare. The bathroom counter no longer held my razor or shaving cream. The home office desk drawers, once full of my papers and gadgets, were emptied out. She grabbed her phone and dialed my work number. It rang 3 times, then went to a generic voicemail. She hung up and called the main office line instead. "Hi. I am trying to reach my husband," she said quickly when the receptionist answered. "He works in infrastructure. His name is Wesley Brooks." "One moment," the receptionist said. There were clicking sounds as she checked the system. "I show that employee as relocated," she said. "I can transfer you to human resources if you would like." "Relocated where?" Tanisha demanded. "I do not have that information, ma'am," the receptionist said calmly. "Would you like human resources?" "Yes," Tanisha snapped. Hold music filled her ear for what felt like an hour before a polite woman picked up. "This is Ellen in Human Resources," she said. "How can I help you?" "I'm calling about my husband," Tanisha said, her voice shaking. "I was told he relocated. I need to know where. I can confirm he accepted an out-of-state transfer," the woman said carefully. "I cannot provide details about employee relocations without their consent." "Out of state where?" Tanisha pressed. "I really cannot discuss employee information," Ellen said. "If you need to reach him, I would suggest contacting him directly." "His phone is disconnected," Tanisha said. "I'm sorry, ma'am," Ellen replied. "I cannot help with that. Is there anything else I can do for you today?" Tanisha hung up without answering. She scrolled through her contacts frantically and called Leon. The call went to voicemail. "Hey, it is Tanisha," she said, trying to breathe. "I just got home and Wesley is gone. Like gone. The house is half empty, and he left a letter saying Honolulu and divorce, and I do not understand what is happening. Call me back immediately." She hung up and called Raymond next. He answered on the 3rd ring. "Hey," he said, sounding distracted. "Yeah, I heard he took a job out of state. Did not give me many details, honestly." Tanisha's grip tightened on the phone. "When did he tell you this?" she asked. "Week or so before Christmas," Raymond said. "Said it was sudden, but a good opportunity." Her voice rose. "And you did not think to mention it to me?" There was a pause. "I figured you knew," Raymond said. "You were his wife." Tanisha hung up on him before he could say anything else. Panic was roaring in her ears now. She returned to the kitchen and read the letter again. The house is yours. Lawyer will be in touch. It is just done. Her phone rang. Leon calling back. She snatched it up. What is going on? He asked immediately. Your message sounded. He left, Tanisha said, pacing the kitchen. He is in Honolulu apparently. Did you know? Leon hesitated. He mentioned a transfer opportunity, he said slowly. I did not realize he had decided for sure. He called on Christmas Day and said he was taking it. I thought you were all discussing it as a family. Tanisha's voice broke. We were in Colorado with Tyrone for the holidays, she said. There was a long silence on the line. You were in Colorado with your ex during Christmas? Leon asked. For Jada, she said quickly. It was for Jada. His parents wanted a big family Christmas. And where was Wesley? Leon asked, his voice calm but edged. Here, Tanisha said weakly. He said he was fine with it. Did he actually say he was fine? Leon asked quietly. Or did he just not argue? She opened her mouth, then closed it. The dinner table replayed in her head like a recorded scene. Her calling him a stand-in. Him saying okay. No shouting. No fight. Just okay. I have to go, she said suddenly. She ended the call and sank into a kitchen chair, the letter crumpling slightly in her hand. She tried to rewind the last month in her head. The dinner conversation, his strange calmness, the quiet week before they left, the short text responses while they were gone. Her phone buzzed with a new email notification from an unfamiliar law office. Subject line, Dissolution of Marriage Documents. She clicked with trembling fingers. A PDF opened with official letterhead and a petition for divorce, my signature already in place. There was a brief note from the attorney. Please review the attached documents. As you will see, my client is requesting an uncontested dissolution and is waiving claims to all marital property and assets. We would appreciate your cooperation in expediting this process. He is giving me everything, Tanisha thought numbly. The house, the car, the furniture, all of it. Not out of generosity, but because he just wants out. Jada's footsteps thundered down the stairs. Mom, half his stuff is gone, she said, appearing in the doorway, eyes wide. What is happening? Tanisha looked at her daughter, 14 years old, confused and scared, clutching the stair rail. He had to leave for work, Tanisha said quickly. Suddenly. For how long? Jada asked. Tanisha glanced at the letter, at the divorce papers glowing on her phone screen. I do not know, baby, she said. I do not know. The lie tasted bitter. Over the next 2 weeks, reality hit harder, every day. The mortgage payment bounced. Tanisha stared at the bank notification on her phone, not understanding at first. Insufficient funds. But the account always had money. Wesley always handled it. She checked the balance. Only her part-time paycheck deposits were there. His direct deposits were gone. She called the bank. The representative confirmed that Wesley had withdrawn his portion and closed his linked accounts in late December. But we need that money for the house payment, Tanisha said. I understand, ma'am, the representative said. But if it is a joint account and he removed his funds, that is within his rights. You will need to make alternative arrangements. Alternative arrangements with what money? Tanisha had been working part-time at a boutique for 3 years, 20 hours a week. Her income barely covered her personal expenses and Jada's small extras. She had always thought of it as fun money, something to keep her busy. Wesley covered the mortgage, utilities, most of Jada's school and activity expenses. As she went through the bills, the full picture came into focus. The internet bill, once on his autopay, had failed. The car insurance, tied to his account, bounced. The joint credit card she tried to use for groceries was declined at the register. Tanisha stood there in the store, cheeks burning, while the cashier waited silently and the line behind her grew longer. She paid with what little she had in her personal checking and left with half of what she planned to buy. That night, she called Tyrone. I need help, she said as soon as he answered. Financial help. Just temporary, until I figure things out. What happened to Wesley? Tyrone asked, his tone cautious. He left, Tanisha said. He's in Honolulu. Some big promotion. He emptied the accounts tied to him, and I cannot cover the mortgage right now. Honolulu, Tyrone repeated. When? Right after we got back from Aspen, she said. There was a long pause. And you did not see this coming? He asked. No, Tanisha said, her throat tightening. He left a letter and disappeared. What did the letter say? Tyrone asked. She could not bring herself to repeat the line about the stand-in, but the words bounced in her skull anyway. He had been done. Done with the marriage. Done with everything. That he was done, she said finally. Done with this. That he hoped Jada had a great time with her authentic family. Tyrone sighed. Look, I already pay child support, he said. I cannot take on your house payment too. That is not my responsibility. I'm not asking you to buy the house, Tanisha said quickly. Just a couple of months to get back on my feet. You will figure it out, Tyrone said. Get a better job. Sell the house if you have to. I have got to go. Jada can call me anytime. You know that. But your money problems are not mine. He hung up. Jada started asking more questions Tanisha could not answer. Why did he leave? Jada asked one night, sitting at the edge of her bed, textbooks open but ignored. Work opportunity, Tanisha said. But why so sudden? Jada pressed. And why is he not calling me? Tanisha swallowed. He is busy settling in, she said. Is he coming back? Jada asked. Tanisha could not say no, but she could not say yes either. I do not know, honey, she whispered. Jada's shoulders slumped. Over the next few weeks, she got quieter. She stayed in her room longer, stopped talking about friends as much, and her grades slipped. The school counselor called Tanisha one afternoon. Jada seems withdrawn, the counselor said gently. Is everything okay at home? Tanisha stared at the stack of unpaid bills on the kitchen table. We're going through some changes, she said, but we will be fine. Even as she said it, she knew it was not true. Desperate, she tried to contact me through the lawyer. She sent an email asking if we could talk just once, voice to voice, to figure out a way forward. 3 days later, the response came back, formal and brief. My client has made his position clear. He is requesting an uncontested divorce and has waived all property claims. He asks that you respect his decision and sign the documents so both parties can move forward. Regarding your stepdaughter, he wishes her well, but believes it is best for all involved to make a clean break. Clean break. After 6 years. The phrase knocked the breath out of her. Tanisha tried a different approach. She had Jada write a letter, a genuine one, where Jada actually seemed to let her guard down. The teenager wrote about how quiet the house felt, how she was sorry if she had seemed rude sometimes, how she missed his corny jokes, and the way he always remembered her favorite snacks during grocery runs. Tanisha mailed the letter to the lawyer's office with a pleading note asking him to forward it. 2 weeks later, the envelope came back, marked not forwarded, with a short note from the lawyer tucked inside. My client received the letter, it said. He asked me to convey that he cares about Jada's well-being and hopes she thrives, but he believes continuing contact would only make the transition harder for everyone. He is moving forward with his life and respectfully requests that you both do the same. Tanisha read the note 5 times, then crumpled it and threw it across the room. The paper bounced off the wall and landed near the pantry. Jada walked into the kitchen just in time to see it flying. What is that? Jada asked, frowning. Nothing, Tanisha said quickly. Was it from him? Jada pressed. Jada, go to your homework, Tanisha said, her voice too sharp. Did he not want my letter? Jada asked quietly. It is complicated, Tanisha said, rubbing her temples. Jada stared at her. He does not want us anymore, does he? She asked. The truth Jada saw at 14, Tanisha had taken months to fully admit to herself. It is not about wanting, Tanisha started, but Jada shook her head. He called you out on something, Jada said, and instead of fixing it, you just assumed he would stay anyway. Then he left. Tanisha's mouth fell open. Adults are complicated, she said weakly. No, Mom, Jada said, voice steady. You were complicated. He was pretty straightforward, actually. Then Jada went upstairs and slammed her bedroom door. Tanisha sat alone in the kitchen, surrounded by unpaid bills, and signed divorce papers and the returned letter. She pulled out her phone and opened social media. My account was gone, deactivated or blocked. She could not tell. She searched for me on LinkedIn instead. My profile came up, updated and polished. Systems Director, Honolulu office. New city, new title, new life. It was like the 6 years in Ohio had been erased with a few clicks. Her phone buzzed again. This time it was the mortgage company. Second notice. If payment was not received in 7 days, they would begin foreclosure proceedings. Tanisha looked around the house I had signed over to her, the house she could not afford alone. Everything was falling apart, and I was thousands of miles away, completely unreachable. 3 months in Honolulu. I had finally stopped checking my phone, expecting messages from a life that no longer existed. The apartment was small, a furnished one-bedroom on the 10th floor of a building in downtown Honolulu. If I stood on the balcony and leaned slightly to the left, I could see the harbor and the distant curve of the shoreline. The furniture was basic but clean. There was no history embedded in the walls, no photos of someone else's family on the mantel, no ghosts of old arguments clinging to the corners. Work kept me busy. The team welcomed me quickly. They had been drowning in half-finished projects, and I brought order, timelines, and a way to fix things one step at a time. People appreciated that. The thing I noticed about the people here was that they did not pry. They asked where I was from, what I liked to do on weekends, which food spots I tried so far, but no one asked why I had uprooted my life on short notice. It was a relief. I became friends with a guy named Lamont in accounting. He was loud in a warm way, always ready with a joke at the coffee machine. 2 weeks earlier, he had invited me to a weekend barbecue at his family's place near Ala Moana Beach Park. "You cannot live here and not come to at least one proper cookout," he had said. I went unsure what to expect. His wife, Rochelle, greeted me at the door like I was a cousin she had not seen in a while. Their kids ran in and out of the small yard, chasing each other and laughing. Some neighbors stopped by with side dishes. There was music playing low in the background, someone arguing good-naturedly about football near the grill. It felt like normal life, the kind I had always wanted. Easy, steady, full of small, simple moments that did not require constant proving. No one there knew I had once been called a stand-in. No one needed to. For them, I was just Wesley, the new guy from Ohio who worked in systems and needed to try the ribs before they were gone. One afternoon during my lunch break, my phone rang. The number was unfamiliar, but the area code told me it was from back home. I almost did not answer. Then I did. "Hello," I said. On the other end, I heard heavy breathing, then Tanisha's voice, shaky and small in a way I had never heard it before. "It is me," she said. I closed my office door and sat down at my desk. "How did you get this number?" I asked. "I called your old office," she said. "Told them it was a family emergency. They patched me through." Family emergency. The phrase landed with a dull thud. "What do you need?" I asked. "We need to talk," she said. "About everything. About what happened. About Jada. About us." "There is nothing to talk about," I said. "The divorce papers are straightforward. Sign them." "I cannot just sign away 6 years like it meant nothing," she said. "You already did that," I replied. December 14th. At the dinner table. There was silence. I could almost hear that moment replaying for her the way it so often had for me. "I did not mean it like that," she said finally. "Yes, you did," I said. "And I'm not going to argue about what you meant versus what you said. You were clear. I heard you. And I left." Her voice rose. "You did not leave," she said. "You abandoned us." Something sharp twisted in my chest, but I did not let it show in my words. "Us?" I asked. "Jada has her authentic dad. You made sure I knew I was just filling space, so I stopped filling it." She started crying. "She is struggling," Tanisha said. "Her grades are down. She barely talks to me. She keeps asking about you." I closed my eyes for a moment, then opened them again. Outside my window, the sky was bright and cloudless. "Then maybe you should talk to her actual father about it," I said. "He is useless," she said angrily. "He does not help with anything real. He never did. Not my problem anymore," I said quietly. "How can you be so cold?" she asked. "You helped raise her. You were there every day." "As a stand-in," I said. "Your words, not mine." "I was angry when I said that," she sobbed. "I was frustrated about something else, and I took it out wrong. For 2.5 weeks, you took Jada to play Happy Family with Tyrone," I said. "You did not call me once on Christmas Day. Not once. You posted pictures of the three of you everywhere like I did not exist." That was not anger, Tanisha. That was the truth slipping out. "We are losing the house," she said suddenly. "I cannot afford the payments without you. I signed it over to you," I said. "Sell it. Rent it. That is your choice now." "I do not want the house," she said. "I want you to come home." I looked out at the glimpse of harbor I could see from my office window. "I am home," I said. "I am looking at Honolulu Harbor right now. This is home." "Please," she whispered. "I know I messed up, but we can fix this. I will be better. I will not say things like that again. We can go to counseling. We can start over." Things are already different, I said. You got what you wanted. Space. Freedom. Authentic family time. I'm just not in the picture anymore. That is not what I wanted, she said. Then you should have thought harder before you said it. I replied. There was a long pause. In the background, I heard faint noises. Maybe Jada asking who she was talking to, maybe the television. The lawyer said you will not do any contact with Jada, Tanisha said softly. She wrote you a letter. I know, I said. He told me. And you sent it back, she said. You could have at least written her a response. She is 14. Continuing contact would be confusing for her, I said. She will adapt. Kids are resilient. You are punishing her for my mistake, Tanisha said. I am not punishing anyone, I said. I am removing myself from a situation where I was never going to be enough. She has Tyrone. She has you. That is her family. You were part of this family, Tanisha said. No, I said. I was the person paying the bills while you figured out what you actually wanted. I turned down this job 3 times to keep your version of family together. I showed up for your daughter every day while you kept one foot out the door with your ex. I was fair for 6 years. Now I'm just done. There was a long, shaky silence. I did not know what to do, she whispered. Sign the papers, I said. Move forward. That is all there is. Can I call you again in a few weeks? She asked. Maybe when things calm down. No, I said. This is the conversation. After this, everything goes through the lawyers. Do not call my office again. Do not call my family. Do not send letters through Jada. We are finished. Wesley, please, she said. Goodbye, Tanisha, I replied. I hung up, turned off my phone, and sat there in the quiet office for 5 full minutes, just breathing. Then I went to the restroom, splashed cold water on my face, stared at my reflection until my heartbeat slowed, and went back to work. That night, I walked down to the harbor and bought fish and chips from a small place Lamont had recommended. I carried the warm paper bag to a bench overlooking the water. The air was soft, the sky streaked with orange and pink as the sun slid down toward the horizon. Boats moved slowly across the harbor, their lights flickering on one by one. My phone was still off in my pocket. I knew that when I turned it back on the next day, I would block Tanisha's number and probably change mine entirely. For years, I had lived in reaction to other people's choices, waiting to see if I would be chosen, if I would be considered real enough, permanent enough. For once, I had made a decision that did not center around someone else's comfort. I sat there, eating quietly, letting the sounds of the water and distant voices wash over me. There was no dramatic surge of joy, no movie-style epiphany, just a steady, growing sense of calm. A month later, the signed divorce papers arrived via email. Finalized, the subject line read, I was at Waikiki Beach with a group of coworkers from marketing and accounting. Michelle from marketing had organized a small gathering for sunset drinks at a place near the sand. People were laughing, telling stories about their worst first days at work, teasing each other about office quirks. I stepped away for a moment, opened the email, and scrolled through the notification. Dissolution complete. Officially single. No shared property claims. No custody agreements. Just a clean legal line between my old life and my new one. I stared at the screen for a few seconds, then closed the email and slipped the phone back into my pocket. When I walked back to the group, Lamont raised an eyebrow. You good? He asked. I nodded. Yeah, I said. I am good. For the first time in 6 years, I actually meant it. 3 weeks later, Tanisha sent one last email. Long, detailed, full of explanations and apologies and questions about whether there was any chance we could try again someday. She wrote about the foreclosure notice, about Jada's distance, about her regrets. She wrote that she had replayed that dinner over and over until she could feel the exact second I had stopped being her safe, unquestioned option and had become someone who could actually leave. I opened the email, read the first paragraph, and stopped. I did not need to read the rest. I had already lived it. I deleted the message, blocked the address, and closed my laptop. Outside, the evening air was warm and full of the sounds of a city that did not know my history and did not need to. I stepped out onto the balcony, leaned on the railing, and looked at the harbor lights. For once, there was no feeling of standing in for someone else, no sense that I was temporary or waiting to be replaced. This life was mine, built on a decision I had made for myself. No more stand-ins, no more pretending, just me, thousands of miles from everything I'd left behind, finally starting something that belonged fully and authentically to me. If you enjoyed this story, please like, comment, and share this video with your friends. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a powerful story drop.